Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am going to actually be doing a review of Castles and Crusades: The Adventurer's Backpack. So this was an item that they kickstarted, quite a number of years ago, and it is a really valuable resource for you as a castle keeper or as a player of Castles and Crusades. And even though I was going through and getting ready to run the first series of subclasses from this book. What I decided to do was before I launch into the subclasses, I wanted to just do an overall review of the Adventurer's Backpack to show you everything that is in there, and then I will go specifically and focus on each of the character classes that are introduced in this. So, without further ado, let's shift screens here. So you can get this on. You can get this in hardcover or PDF, going straight to Trollord Games, so trollords.com, and you can pick this up there. Um, and along with all of their other stuff, they also currently have a Kickstarter going, which is the Castles and Crusades, the Armory, which is going to introduce a slew of new weapons and period piece weapons and historical weapons and weapons from different cultures and everything, as well as a variety of war mounts, which this actually includes as well. So and additionals to that as well. So without further ado, let's start taking a look at the a castle keeper and player very useful supplement here, the Adventurer's Backpack. So here we go, and all right. So the backpack is Stephen Chenault along with Neil Chenault, Davis Chenault, and so on and so forth. I'll go through everyone, or you can just take a glance and go through everyone. So this is the first printing, edited by Scott Greeding and Matt Golden and Tim Burns. Go through here. Acknowledgements, I will skip over this. Very nice artwork. So this was a Kickstarter, and you can see all of the backers. What I always like is hyperlinks. So we do have hyperlinks for each of these. So you can jump right to any of these things. So there was a section on classes and classes in the Castle Keeper, class descriptions and terminology. And then we have a number of new classes, right? The Arcane Thief, which will be the first one that I do a focus on, probably by Thursday. And then the Archer, Divine Knight, the Warsworn, the Ethereal Knight, the Magic User, not to be mixed up with the Wizard that was in the primary player's handbook. So it'd be interesting to see the differences between some of these. The Oath Sworn, the Pacer, the Primal Druid, the Rune Mark, the Seeker, the Scald, the Thief, which I'm going to compare to the Rogue, and the Warrior Priest. Then there is a equipment section, selling used equipment, so a system on how to sell used equipment that you have. Backpacks, which is what most of this is going to focus on, but they get into backpacks, starting coins, and equipment tables. The expert backpacks, and this is the real bulk of this product, is giving you various backpack configurations and stuff that your players at the very beginning can just purchase one of these backpacks, and it gives a wide variety of things that come along with them. and you can see all of the various expert backpacks that they have, and we will touch upon a few of those as we go through. We have backpacks based on class, and so those specialized backpacks. Then we get to pack animals. We get to bandage herbs kits, soap, applying bandages, reusing bandages, tools, clothing, reach pole arms over time. Then we get into unarmed combat, battle mounts, another big section here of battle mounts. Then magic. So this also introduces, magic that is exclusive to here, and you can then import it into your own campaigns as you go through. And magic items. So again, introduces some new magic items. So new magic armors, weapons, and miscellaneous. And then the known planes. So it goes into some talk about the planes. So as you can see, I mean, there's a lot here that this book introduces, and all in a very compact 143 plus page book. So you got everything right here, and they go through the class descriptions. All right, and like I said, these classes are going to be very different, especially like the Arcane Thief. When I first read this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like incredible. It is quite literally an arcane thief. All right. As in stealing magic. And I'll get into that whole thing once I do that video for it. But really, really cool stuff. Class descriptions and terminology. It gets through, breaking down the class reference chart here so you can see very quickly, can they use, let me expand this so you can actually see it too. So can they use shields? What kind of helms can they wear? What kind of armors can they wear? And so on and so forth. I am going to skip over because I'm going to focus specifically on the character classes. So we don't have to do it now. Let's keep on going. Let's finish up classes. I mean, as you can see, there's a lot here. Just on classes. Here we go. Equipment. So backpacks. Castles and Crusades Adventurer's Backpack comes complete with 34 different expert backpacks designed for players to equip their characters quickly and easily. There are general backpacks and specialized backpacks, ranging from the Warriors Pack to the Rogue and Thieves Packs, to the Magic User and Wizard, to the Dungeoneers or Overland Travelers. There are specialty backpacks that include all the gear required for special skills, such as Sage's packs, Medic packs, spell components, and more. Each backpack entry comes with a cost of the pack, the equipment, and its encumbrance and weight. To use the backpack entry, simply purchase it from Starting Coin and write the backpack down on the character sheet or a piece of paper. The character then possesses everything listed in the backpack, and so on, right? So Starting Coin, you have the Starting Coin of the new classes that are included in this. So slight variants of the original classes. You have an expanded equipment pages now, so you have a lot of different, helms included. You have more armor, shields, weapons, and so forth. So you have, a great number of additional things. Transport animals and tack. So a whole section here on various forms of transportation and equipment, and then animals. So riding elephants, war elephants, the feed per day for most of these. I'm sure that the feed per day for elephants is going to be a lot higher than just 10 pounds of feed for them. But we go through and we move. So now you have the tack for them. So you have saddles, your typical saddle, the pack saddle for mules and ponies, a saddle for an elephant. You can see it's 100 pounds and it's 500 gold pieces, and going all the way through. So saddle for a war boar, a war wolf, a war camel, um, sleds, so on. Your typical war horse, heavy, light, a war pony, a wolf, and a yak. All right. Pelts. So they give you pelts and skins, and the value of such things. Uh, Continuing how much it costs to buy these particular animals. If you wish to uh, additional equipment, I mean, they just have so much packed into here that, and this is general, basic equipment. We haven't even gotten to the backpacks yet. So this is just, um, equipment that you could buy a la carte, basically, piecemeal, right off of the equipment list. Here's a section of medical equipment. So everything that you might need in a med kit. The med kit includes all of the above. So it'll include something, all of this in one particular pack. Then regular clothing, material multiplier adds the cost. The material of which items of clothing are made affect their value. Consult the chart below for more details. So then we have provisions and lodging that's included in this. Unique, rare, and class specific items. Then we get into the backpacks themselves, at least some, and this is just for the common ones. They get into the specific ones later. And let's start taking a look at expert backpacks. All right, so here's the first one, the Dungeon Basic Backpack. It's a large expert shoulder pack. It weighs, it costs 50 gold pieces. It weighs 32 pounds. It has an EV, which is an encumbrance value of 16.5. Internal capacity is 20. Quick release mechanism, which almost all of these have, takes 3 seconds, all right, to access anything that you need from the backpack. One with a successful dexterity check at a challenge level of 9. All right, so it could just take 1 second to get into this if you make your dexterity check. The external contents is a summer bedroll tied to the bottom, 2 torches rolled up in the bedroll, 50 feet of silk rope tied to the outside of the pack, 2 1-quart water skins, 1 on each side, 3-pronged folding grappling hook tied to side, dual-headed hatchet, hammer tied to the side, measuring stick tied to the side. All right, internal contents. The personal health, you have 4 sets of bandages, 2 wounds each, a steel flask, small, a case, map scroll with 10 sheets of paper, inkwell and quill, 1 ounce of ink, 5 pieces of chalk, and a whistle. Adventurer supplies, 5 torches wrappings, 5 torch wrappings, sorry, flint and steel, file, metal file, crowbar, small shovel, small hammer, wedge for splitting, 5 spikes, a whetstone, oil flask, hardened leather, 1 quart, 2 large sacks empty, 1 small sack empty, a chisel, and iron rations good for 7 days. The common pack. All right. So this is an expert large shoulder pack, 50 gold pieces, 32 pounds, same size. And it has all of, oh, I just read that. Sorry. Dungeon expert pack. Sorry. Um, 70 gold pieces, 61 pounds. All right. 15.50 EV, which means that it's much more compact and condensed. Um, Quick release, same rules for it. Same external contents. It's once we get to the adventure supplies, I think that we're going to add certain things, right? So you're common all the way through. There is a measuring line, 25 feet. That's new. There's a crock of grease. There's 5 candles. Um, you have armor and weapon oil, iron rations for just 3 days. The internal you have for personal adventure supplies. We go through here. This must be the overland thing. Yeah, there's just like one thing when you don't scroll all the way down and pick up the next title. So the overland expert, and we keep on going. So this is what the packs look like, and I really like the idea of having the image so you can actually visualize what everything looks like when it is fully packed. Okay, let's go to interesting that they have a city expert pack, much more lightweight. There's a city basic, city expert, expert backpacks for based on terrain. So you have cold weather backpacks. You have desert backpacks, mountain backpacks. Just the level of detail that's being put in here. But once the player buys it, they have it and they can become very familiar with it and start to develop an understanding of how each one of these backpacks is going to have a different application, a different use. And depending on what they expect their adventure to entail, they can then purchase these backpacks um, to go a long way. And then they can mix and match some things as well. And, we know the internal capacity of things and, of each of these backpack settings. So you could always switch things up, and as long as you conform to the internal capacity of these, then you should be fine to do so as a castle keeper, to allow it and for players to really modify these backpacks to meet their own personal liking. And like I said, there are 36 backpacks. Let's get to class based. So the Arcane Thief is going to be the first class that I focus on. So let's take a look at the Arcane Thief backpack. It is a small expert shoulder pack, 28 pounds. It's 55 gold pieces, 6.5 EV, an internal capacity of 10. Um, Quick release, same information as always. The external contents is the bedroll tied to the bottom, 50 feet of silk rope tied to the outside, a crowbar tied to the side. All right, personal health, pretty much the same information. The grimoire is class specific, and arcane van braces are also class specific. Adventure supplies, 5 small vials wrapped in cloth with a small sack worn as a belt. A file, metal, flint and steel, iron rations, oil flasks um, are all included. And that is the Arcane Thief's backpack. So that's everything that is in here. We have the archer's backpack. I'm going to assume that this one is certainly going to include um, bowstrings. Yeah, so here we go. So let's take a look at this one. So it has the summer bedroll tied to the bottom, two 1 quart water skins, glue, pot tied to the side. All right, so that's something unique. A knife, a carving knife, arrow shaft in external sheath. All right. Oh, so it's a carving knife for arrow shafts. Two sets of bandages. Let's see. Small steel flask. That's common to the others. The sewing kit's new. Um, a razor and a bar of soap is also new. I guess archers need to be clean shaven. Um, Fletching supplies, feathers and arrowheads. That makes sense. Extra set of clothing. Interesting. 12 feet of bowstring. I'll be curious to see how many bows that can restring with that amount of thing. Uncured leather straps, one small sack empty, and iron rations. I'm assuming that assassins will require um, extra vials and stuff like that for a makeup kit, right? That I would expect. And barbarians and druids, pretty hefty pack. All right, it's a large expert duffel bag. All right, so that's a difference. It's not a backpack; it's a duffel bag, and so on and so forth. Maybe when I go over each of these classes from the adventurer's backpack, I will then focus on going over their specific backpack as well. That might be a better way of presenting everything to you. Let's pony backpacks. All right, let's get to using equipment. So you go into bandages, herbs, kits, and soap. Let's see the use of soap. Soap is designed to combat infections, to keep a wound from rotting or disease from entering the bloodstream. Anyone using soap and water at least twice a week receives a +1 to any saving throws against natural disease. Well, that's pretty cool. All right. So that's something I've never seen in any other game system. So that's really cool that they would include that. Um, crowbars give you a +1 bonus to your strength check for opening hatches, prying doors open, and so on. Um, climbing using spikes, yeah. So a lot of this is silk rope is far stronger, more durable, and easier to work with than regular hemp rope. Thus the extra cost, and the reason why it's almost in every single backpack is that it's worth the cost. We go into clothing. I don't think we spend enough time, and maybe perhaps I'm just speaking of myself. I don't spend enough time thinking about the regular clothing that the adventurers are wearing when they're out there adventuring. Like I myself, I don't really say, "Hey, what kind of clothes are you wearing?" Because it's now, midwinter and it's excessively cold out there. Um, Maybe it would be a good idea to focus a little bit on there. Um, so we get all different types of pole arms. Yeah, Castles and Crusades, and the writers of Castles and Crusades, they really like going into these weapons and variant types, and they go into the historical aspects of the weapons and regional regional weapons and such, and that's why the Kickstarter, um, you know, the Adventurers Armory is such a big addition to the game. You can really just change the whole tone of what you're doing, or theme of your campaign, just by inserting different types of weapons into it. unarmed combat. So they go into a new system on unarmed combat here. Um, grappling and unarmed combat has always been like the bane of Dungeons and Dragons. Like they never quite get it right. I will spend an entire video on just unpacking unarmed combat in Castles and Crusades. So here we get into war mounts, the war pony, the war boar, all of your different stats on them. Guard dogs and the amount of training that they've had. That's interesting. Feeding your mounts. So magic. They have a section here on magic and classes. Bard is a spellcaster. They go through the bard spells. Rangers as a spellcaster. Paladin. Counter spells. Magic battles. Might have to spend a whole video on just this as well. Rune magic. And so the various runes and their effects. And just a lot packed in. Well, this whole backpack is, I mean, this whole book is 146 pages, but you could see there's a lot of info packed in here in 146 pages. So really, really extensive. Awesome artwork too. Yeah, so we're still in the spell descriptions. And let's see, after we finish with magic, we'll take a look at if there's new magic items introduced and get a sense of those. Getting close to the end. Magic spell descriptions are always to take the bulk of any book that they're dealing with spells. Magic items, the new approach. Let's see what their new approach is. Magic items offer the Castle Keeper a source of experience that rivals, though should never equal, experience points from defeating monsters. Taking a new approach to the availability and longevity of magic items may just give the game a much needed jolt. This entails looking at magic in a fundamentally different way, considering low powered magic items fallible. They either have charges like a wand that are used up, or they can break after some use, or they simply wear down. This makes the item more disposable, allowing the castle keeper to give more items and avoid the characters acquiring too many of them. It keeps the experience points flowing as well, allowing the game to progress at a slightly quicker pace. This approach should only be applied to items that are single or dual use or offer a +1 or a +2 bonus. Items that are much more rare, exotic, or powerful should be dealt with through the normal rules. Note, keep in mind that this optional approach is not an all or nothing approach. A +1 sword may have charges, but another +1 sword may not. It is entirely at the discretion of the castle keeper. Once again, I've never seen that before. So a +1 or a single power might have 25 charges. A +2 or dual power might have 50 charges, such as like a hat of disguise. All right. Breakage. So we get into magic items and breakage. So the CL is a 7, which is not hard to do, right? If your challenge level is a 7, you just have to roll. So grants an item a plus 10 saving throw against the major blow, fall, or catastrophic event. Add to the bonus the number of its power it has. The item saves are always primary. The CL must be set by the CK, but the following chart may be used as a guideline. So if you do a critical hit, or your item is critically hit, the challenge level is a 7, so you would roll a d10. You'd have plus 10 to your roll. You're rolling a d20, and you want to roll above. Um, so if it's a 12, you're getting a plus 10, which means that you're rolling a d10 20. You need at least a 2, and you have to exceed a 7. Um, so it's going to be pretty hard for an item to break. It might break only on just a 1 to 2 on a d20 roll, and that's what would make it break. Because your target number is still a 12 because it's treated as a prime. So your target number is still a 12. Um, this is going to make it a 19. All right, let me correct that. So on a critical hit, your target is a 12. The item, a plus 10 saving throw against any major blow. So you're going to roll with a plus 10, and you need to hit a 19 or higher for it not to break. But you have a plus 10, which means a 9 would be the minimum that you would have to roll there. With this one, it's you'd only need to roll an 8. Fall 1 per 10 20 feet. You'd have to fall far before you could break something with only just a 1 challenge level. And magic damage level of hit die of monster. Um, so yeah, magic damage. Taking magic damage could damage your weapons, and this only applies again to plus 1 or 1 magic use type item or plus 2 item. Wearing down. So here we have some special armor. Um, Helm of the Bull. The Knight's magical Knight's mail coat. Sorry. Um, the Mace of Deflection. Monk's robe. Deceiver's scabbards. Pretty cool. So we have quite a number of different magic items, elemental manuals. All right. The known planes. All right, so they get into the planes now. They're coming out with a book, which is basically the manual of the planes, a homage to the original manual of the planes from AD&D First Edition, and really looking forward to that as well. Haven't heard about that in a while, so but I know that they're working on it, and looking forward to actually seeing it. Optional weapon bonuses versus armor class. Wow, that's getting really crunchy though. I probably wouldn't do that. And the OGL, which they'll eventually remove from everything. So anyway, so there we have it. I mean, there is just so much in this, that you can literally spend hours just digging through it, and considering, I'm going to use this, I'm not going to use that, um maybe I'm going to tweak this, and apply it a little bit differently than what is as written and such. But they just give so much content in this book for you to consider using, that it is by far one of the best purchases of supplemental materials that I've ever picked up from any from any game system. So if you don't have it, I strongly recommend that you do. You can get it in just PDF, or you can get it bundled, PDF and um, PDF and hardback. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stay here on the screen, and let me check it out and see. Let's see. So the new Adventurers Armory is still so. Let's see, for the GM. Um, Let me just see. Here we go. So I'll get back here. I'll go here. Here we go. All right. Let's see. $19 for digital, $39.99 for the hardback. Um, oh, this one was sold out. It was $9.99, um, but it is sold out. Yeah, they have frequent sales, and so you can always check out these various things. Um, Maybe I'll take a look at the spell book next. So when you go to these, you can see how much they are, um, print plus digital. So you'll get both. Um, you'll get both for 39, and this is 256 pages. For the Adventurer's spell book, and it will go through and tell you, so over 200 new spells for you, rune mark, and so on. So just tons and tons of new information. Um, I'll just backspace that. So yeah, so for the hardcover is 39, and you can. I didn't see the bundle where they had both. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So 49 for the for both the print and digital, which I would recommend. Now, if you're a veteran such as myself, or active military or whatever, you can you could put in for a 50% discount, which is tremendously helpful and really appreciated. And it's Trollord Games' way of thanking those of us who are serving or have served. Um, since both Stephen and Davis, at least, are both veterans themselves, and it's something that I certainly take advantage of when there's quite a few items I really want, but things are a little bit tight. Um, and then there's other things like Kickstarters that I certainly have no problem with backing, to show them the support there, and get those at regular price or Kickstarter prices. So great stuff. Highly recommend it. And I will be going through this in greater detail, beginning on Thursday, with the first look at the Arcane Thief, and I will also go over the Arcane Thief's backpack, at this at the same time. So thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video. As always, leave your questions and comments in the comments section. If you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up if you liked it. Share it. Please get it out there so that others can see. I always post these videos, obviously on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook and some of the Facebook different groups that I'm in there. And but if there's any other place that you would like to share it, I really appreciate if you would. And that way the channel will continue growing and I will be continue to get those questions and comments that I can then expand the coverage of a variety of games, not just focused on Castles of Crusades or D&D or any of the other games that I spend a lot of time covering. So as always, thanks for joining. Um, Enjoy the rest of your week. And for a lot of people out there, high schools are finishing up. So for those that are graduating, congratulations, and hopefully you'll spend a nice summer relaxing and as well as getting to the gaming tables and playing some as well. So have a great rest of your day and take care.